I got to know Law many years ago. Like he was, I was involved with some anti-stigma campaign, and Law he was my mentor at the time, and I had never met him we never met in person, but he was always there on the phone whenever I was having some kind of difficult times with my depression, and he was always on the other end of the phone and giving me little tips and giving me courage that, especially not to be ashamed about depression and being open about it and realizing it's a normal thing. And yeah, he's just an awesome guy, and it's the little things that can make a huge difference. Realizing that you don't have to feel ashamed about it, that it's a normal part of life, and kind of little tips to make it easier to deal with. So what helped me, that he related everything to his own experiences, that he had been there himself, and that at times things can look like there's no hope or there's no way out. But no matter how bleak things got, he would say, there's always tomorrow, there's always things will change, and even if you don't believe it, there's always some way out of it eventually. And just being patient, just staying in the moment, going for a walk, trying to eat well, trying to exercise a bit if possible, but not beating yourself up, not pushing yourself too far, trying to find this balance, and being kind to yourself, and especially not feeling ashamed about it, because that can make it so much more difficult to deal with. And I think these are really important messages to realise.
I think Erik he hit the nail on the head when he said about be kind to yourself. Really, I think what tends to happen with depression, with clinical depression, is we can become very self-critical. We beat ourselves up, we tend to pick faults with whatever we do, because our confidence and self-esteem is sapped. So I think the number one message that I would say to anybody is to try to be kinder to yourself and not beat yourself up. Nobody's perfect. I often say to people that I'm perfectly imperfect, and that's the best way to look at it. But unfortunately, you know, we do give ourselves a hard time unnecessarily, and I think a lot of it is around, as Erik said, is around the stigma and discrimination of mental health, and that people feel ashamed, which they shouldn't feel, because they have a mental health condition such as depression.
Yeah, I also think because if you're there, it can feel like a very lonely place, and you think it's just me who has this, and it's a shame, and no one understands it. And you think, if I speak to someone, what if they don't get it? And having someone else who's been through it saying like, no, there's nothing to be ashamed about. It's difficult. Okay, I can't take it away, can't fix it from one day to the next. But the shame it's not, it shouldn't be there. It's like everyone can experience it, and it's like you shouldn't be ashamed if your leg is broken. You shouldn't be ashamed if you have depression. Absolutely. I think that's the most important feeling, because you can feel so isolated and disconnected from anyone else. And so if you can have a connection with someone else when you're depressed, that's the most valuable thing, because you have some sense of connection at a time when everything seems isolated and you seem to be distant from the rest of the world.
Yeah, I think it's a two-way process, Erik. I think that the fact that my role is sort of a mentoring role to support yourself, Erik, but I also gain from that myself, because I think when we help other people, we also improve our own self-esteem and self-confidence. Sure. So by supporting you, I also felt better about myself. You know, my confidence level rose, and my self-esteem, and I valued myself more.
I think once you come out of on the other side, and you've been through hell, or you've been through very difficult times, and if you can then use that experience to help others, that's the best.
Absolutely.
There's nothing better than that.
There isn't. No, absolutely.